Hi, I thought I would film this week's video the way I look like when I wake up. Not because I'm lazy, but because I wanted to show you what I look like when I wake up, I guess. No, I'm kidding. It's because I didn't feel like putting on my clothes yet, and it's the early morning kind of feeling to go ahead and film my 11-week video. So I'm wearing my robe and I'm wearing my crazy unbrushed hair. And you can tell that I'm starting to break out more from like pregnancy hormones. I also, my voice sounds different. I guess it's sleepy voice in the morning. I don't know. I've had some tea, and a banana, but nothing else. So it is 11 weeks pregnant today, and welcome to the video series, My Birthway, which is me, Emma, discussing each week how I feel about being pregnant, my physical symptoms, my emotional state, things that we're learning or things that we have experienced with, for example, our care provider. We're having the baby at a birth center, things like that. So 11 weeks. There isn't really too much, I feel like, different than last week. Last week I talked about starting to have more energy, having less food aversions, which is really great. And that's continuing. So I still have more energy. I have less food aversions. I'm going to glance over at my cheat sheet journal where I've written things, because sometimes I forget what I've experienced, because it's a lot of stuff and I write a lot of stuff down and notice a lot of stuff. One thing that I thought was really cool is the other night I was just sitting on the sofa with Jason, and I think I was reading, and I looked at my hands and I was like, oh my God, they're like discolored. And actually weirdly, they're less discolored today. You can't tell, but for a while, so there's the mask of pregnancy, which some women get, and that's what they call it. It's a weird name, but it usually happens on the face, and it's like just a discoloration, like a darker pigmentation of the skin due to hormonal changes. It's no big deal, but a lot of women are like, oh, I hate it. And so I was like, well, it's not happening to my face, because I kind of was thinking, hey, it's going to happen to me. But it happened to the back of my hands, like in this region. And it's hard to see in the video, but like usually this white, my hands are tan-ish, I guess, but like this line here it's darker. It just all of a sudden was like darker, and sometimes it's darker, sometimes it's lighter during the day, but I think at night it's like, oh my God, like it just looks like I got sunburned or I tanned like so intensely in one day, and then it changes, and it doesn't feel texturally different or hurt or anything like that. So that's really cool. So I think my funny pigmentation, my mask of pregnancy, is actually in my hands, which I think is pretty cool. So that's happened to me. And then also one thing that's happened, which has been a pretty huge hassle, is my hips, where my like femur connects to my pelvis, are so sore. And I know that it's because of hormonal stuff. So different phases in pregnancy, your hormones surge, and on different hormones surge in different levels. But relaxin is already in my body circulating around, which is the hormone that allows your body the ligaments and all of those things to kind of stretch out and let everything spread without you hurting a lot. And then it of course helps during the birth, because your pelvis is not one bone. It's a couple bones that are connected with cartilage and ligaments and things like that. And it can stretch open. That's why huge babies can be born out of vaginas every day. Or huge, I guess, 10, 11 pound babies. That can happen just fine, depending on your position of birth and the way you go into the birth and stuff. So that relaxin's already circulating around in my body. And I'm just like, oh my God, my hips are so sore. Now, I've noticed when I eat crappy foods, like more inflammatory foods, like when I eat more carbohydrates than I usually do, in the past anyway, I'll kind of feel like a soreness in my right hip just anyway. And the nerve that runs through there, let's see, not the sciatic nerve, not the one that goes down the back of the leg, but the one that runs around through the femur pelvis region and kind of ends up on the top of your knee. I think it's called the femoral nerve. That sometimes will get pinched for a day or two, and my leg will feel a little tingly. I'll have to like stretch and stuff. And I can tell that's because of like an inflammatory response to like you're eating like crap, or you're not stretching, or you're sleeping in super weird positions. And then it'll go away when I change what I was eating, and I make sure that I'm like, my posture is good, because sometimes you get tired, you start to slouch, and I can't do that. I mean, especially pregnant people can't do that, but like you're not supposed to do that anyway. You're supposed to make sure your core is strong and your back is strong. And my back is super strong. That's not my issue. My issue is I sometimes overarch my back and let my back carry a lot of the muscular weight that my core needs to be carrying too. So I need to get better at that. But anyway, so I already have an issue with that right hip, a little tiny bit. But I've noticed it is way worse. And then my left hip is weird too. So it gets better when I do stretches, when I do like hip opening exercises, or I just do basic, simple stretches. But I mean, for a couple different days off and on, it has been like, I am like literally limping around. And when we have a baby gate up blocking one of our dogs from coming in the bedroom at night. So when I go pee in the middle of the night, I step over the baby gate and like my leg, I have to lift it and I'm like, wah! It's like my leg like cramps and like the leg goes numb and I'm like, ah! It's like, it's goofy. It's so goofy. But some days it's better. Some days it's, you know, it's not great. So we've looked into it and it's something that can happen to women during pregnancy for sure. It's pretty common, but the consideration is you need to take care of it or it can actually hurt your body because you're going to be like tight and tense. It's going to be pinching things. It's not good. You need to make sure you're stretched out and like, you know, your body is ready for birth and stuff. And if it's that bad, you know, you need to go to like maybe a chiropractor or things like that. But when I do stretches, it gets better. So I have a feeling that I continue doing that and I start to cut down on the carbohydrates that I ate a little bit more of, which I barely ate before. Like I said last week, like bread with butter, or like for a while, way before I was craving bread. Some just because not a ton, but just a little bit more than usual because of feeling a little nauseous. But now I'm noticing that my body's trying to go back to the way I ate before, which was really high fat diet, good fat. So animal fats, avocados, coconut oil, those things, nuts, that kind of stuff. And then pretty high protein and super low carbs and sugars. So not super freaky low, but low. You know, I'll eat vegetables, some fruits, but before I pretty much just ate berries, not apples, not bananas, not citrus, which to me citrus is kind of like just vitamin C and sugar water. Like you can get vitamin C from other stuff too. So, but I was craving citrus for a while when there was like fresh grapefruit and oranges at our farmer's market. And so, but I'm starting to feel, I don't really crave that stuff anymore. And I was worried that I would kind of get sugar addicted. Because it's easy to get addicted to sugar. Most people in the US are. I was. But I'm not. My body is like not wanting those other foods yet. Like I was saying, some of the poultry still grosses me out. But I psychologically am like, I want to be able to eat that. So I know I'm going to be able to go back to it because my body wants it, but my taste buds are like, bleh. So that's good to know that I'm going to go back to my fat burning self, which is exciting, which is what I'm wanting. So anyway. So that's happening kind of dietarily. I've also noticed that my breasts are not as sore as they were before. Before they were super sore. Now they're just kind of whatever, you know, hanging out, doing whatever they're supposed to be doing. They're not like going through a crazy growth spurt right now. I feel like, right. Yeah. Like I said last week, there's not a lot of new things happening or big changes, but I feel like this week there's new things happening. They're just not huge, like, whoa, this is a game changer. Just like little observations, like the pigment change on my hand and, you know, the soreness, you know, things like that. Like, cool. Like I'm way more of a science experiment this week. I feel like things are different. And yeah, so face acne has started, and chest acne, like up high, like what is going on? It's driving me crazy. And then weirdly, I had like a patch of acne on my hip and now that's going away. But I'm like, I don't understand. Like, whatever. It's a cool science experiment, let me tell you. And I also feel like my hair is darker. Like the roots are darker. Right now it looks light in the sun, but I feel like my hair is darker. Usually it lightens up some. I never dye it. So that could be interesting to see if pregnancy will change my hair color a little bit. And then this is the funniest thing is I think because I used to eat so much good food and fat and, you know, tons of calories before I got pregnant, but I couldn't eat as much. I feel like I was constantly eating a bit less calories than my body's used to. And so just like this week and maybe a little bit last week, but we didn't notice it till now, my legs got skinny, like chicken legs. Like Jason and I have been making fun of my weird chicken legs. Like the rest of me is normal looking, but my legs got skinny. I guess not freaky skinny, but to me, I was like, hey, I look like I'm in high school again and it's confusing and I don't love it. It's mostly the outside of my thigh, I've noticed, has like been chopped off and like fed to the baby. That's kind of what's going on. So I think I wasn't eating quite enough calories. And so my body was like, hey, you're not eating as much calories. You're hungry and you're eating, but you're not eating the high quality calories I'm used to. So I'm going to take the calories from your good stored fat calorie spots, which is like healthy, awesome, good fats that have been hanging out in your body for like a year plus, that I can rely on as being healthy and no weird crap in it and all that. And I'm going to use that while you get yourself figured out and you get you some more calories going. Because as we know, a baby will take that, whatever it needs, and the mom can just hang in there. So that's hilarious. I have like chicken legs, which is really, really entertaining. And I mean, having more energy overall. I feel really tired when I stand up for a long time, like washing eggs, because I wash eggs for, we sell duck eggs at our farmer's market also. And so I wash those for that. So I feel more tired standing up for a long time. And then I think the last few things is we told my mother's side of the family, because we saw them after Christmas, and they did the old classic, old wives like tale thing of like hanging my wedding ring on a string near my stomach and seeing what it does. And they did it 3 times, and each time it said, you are having a boy. So that was interesting. I still don't have a feeling either way. So that was interesting. And then also too, when I look up, I really want to know what size this baby is. And you look up the drawings and you don't get a good scale, and it's kind of different on different websites what they say how long the baby is. Plus they say it's like the size of a whatever apricot, but it's not the size of an apricot. It is the length of an apricot, and it is super skinny and way lighter than an apricot. So you're imagining this chubby little apricot baby. Not the case. So I looked up, I was worried I shouldn't, but I did, actually miscarried babies at 11 weeks to see a real image of a baby. And it was definitely sad, but it was also very beautiful, because I learned that they already look like little humans, and I didn't know that. I thought that they were slightly still seahorsey, even though I know like, oh, fingerprints are developing, things like that. But it was amazing to me how much they look like little people already at that time. And I was very sad to see that happening. But it didn't make me scared, because I think I went into it. Oh, hi, Kuna. Thanks. I went into it knowing that I was doing it because I wanted to know the truth, what it's really like. So that's how 11 weeks is going. It's been really great. We're still excited. And yes, that's how I feel. Thanks so much for watching every week. I really appreciate it. If you have questions or comments, you can email ourbirthway@gmail.com. You can leave a comment on this video or any of those things. And I will see you next week. All right, bye.